Hi, Assalamualaikum and very good morning to Dr. Ayub and all my classmates. Alright, today our group will present the topic of challenges in career development. Before we proceed our presentation, I would like to introduce myself and others group member. Me, Nurul, Sahira, binti Haridon. And next, my friend is Ahmad, Aiman bin Sapian, Nurul, Arina, binti Mohamad, Alias, Shin, Xuan, Khaleeda, binti Ehsan, Ahmad, and Irene, Shin, Hann, Shin. Without any delay, me as your first presenter today be in charge of introducing of topic today, that is the challenges of career development, and the first aspect that present a challenge in career development, which is the aging population. In general, career is a series of work-related events that a person has over the course of his or her life. It is because this term encompasses both factual occurrences like occupation and subjective perspective on will like a person's attitude, value and expectation, while career development is one of the scope that involve the process that include decision making, exploration and self-knowledge that shape the desired one. This aspect requires successfully done navigating your job option and selecting and training job whereby it fits your skills, interests and personality. Nowadays, modern organization concludes on the active roles of all employees in planning and implementing a plan based on their own personalities on the basis of their own career development. Okay, the essays emphasize on the employees on the development and improvement of their own career in the organization can be detrimental to the effectiveness of an organization. Extreme career-oriented employees are seen to be more concerned with their image than their own performance. The various benefits of learning and career development that employees are likely to reap. However, it is difficult to achieve. This is because in the course of the career development, there must be challenges that come, and it is also likely of limits all the strategy that have been seen. While these challenges is very important to be overcome quickly, because the career development opportunity of employee are a priority for job candidate to be recruited. Well addressed, challenges facilitate the organization to further improve our relevant aspects in order to understand the anticipated challenges. Interaction with others need to be examined with each other in both perspective, productive and non-productive way. Then this aim to ensure the scope of pros and cons in order to consider communication needs as well as sentences that arise immediately. Okay, that's all for the introductions. Let me move on to our main topic, which is aging population, and we represent from me again. Alright, now I will describe the first aspect that present a challenge in career development, which is the aging population. Before that, what is the meaning of the aging population? Right, aging population is a change in the country population towards old age according to the World Health Organization in Malaysia. An estimated 3.5 million people are under the category of above the age of 65 years old, and according to the statement shown the official portal of Department of Statistics Malaysia by 2015, 3 million, there were 45% of people in the aging population group are still working in Malaysia. The aging population present a significant challenge for the government, especially in terms of career development. Before explaining it is product, let me explain some of the factors that encourage the group of the people working longer. Aging population present a significant challenge for the government, especially in terms of career development. Before explaining it is model, let me explain some of the factors that encourage this group of people working longer. Alright, according to the labor statistic of 2015, one of the main reasons that some senior women working at the workplace is because of the family dynamic and expected circumstances. Besides the high level of interest and desire for the work, they too can cause them to be excited and contribute the energy at workplace. In addition, the close relationship with the superior can also be as one of the factors that push this group to get a place and chance to work, even if they do not show excellent performance in their work. Next, we move to the challenges in career development caused by the aging population issue. So the first one is the long retention of senior workers in an organization can cause a decreasing of requirement for the new workers. So number of the youth workers may lead to the shortages of the need workforce in the future. Next, from the workforce aspect, as we all know, the energy possessed by the youth workers is very different from the older workers, and this can indirectly affect the productivity in the organization. For example, most of the older employees cannot be work overtime frequently due to certain factors, and this may indirectly affect the monthly production target that to be done by the company. In the other aspect, it will also affect the industry. For example, in terms of skills, the essential skills in the senior worker will be lost by the company when they quit their job. If an industry recruits more senior workers, the organization needs to take the yearly step by recruiting fewer young professionals to replace those in the senior workers position later. This step indirectly can help to shape the future of the company. At this time, there is no balance between the different aspects of the industry workforce, causing essential skills to be lost and innovation to be limited. Not only this, the aging population will also provide challenges for career development from the aspect of the thinking and broad skill in managing modern technology. The current era of the technology force us need to move along with the speed of technology. This will present a big challenge to the older workers because they are more comfortable using traditional method when performing their work. This case was confirmed again through the result of a study by Ziambri in 2018. The study found the most older workers prefer to use traditional media such as the print media like a newspaper to receive information. This is because this group already set their perception that the traditional method they use are easy and more accurate compared to the new technology. In addition, the way they are thinking and provide new ideas is also different from the professional youth workers. Workers in the younger group tend to think critically and creatively. Besides, they prefer to take risks for high achievement. However, the perspective from the age group, they are more comfortable thinking in a limited way and do not encourage themselves to take risks when making decisions. That's all from me. Thank you. Next presenter is Ahmad Aiman with Sapian will describe about DEMOTION.
Hi, my name is Ahmad Aiman and I will talk about demotion in challenging of career development. What is demotion? Based on the Cambridge Dictionary, a demotion is a shift to a lesser position or rank, generally as a punishment. Demotion occurs when an individual is transferred to a position with a lesser status, grade and responsibilities. There are two sorts of demotions, voluntary and involuntary. We distinguish between voluntary demotion, where the downward movement is initiated by an individual and result in moving to a lower position that better suits his or her needs, and involuntary demotions, where the demotion is initiated by the entire organization. We go to factors of demotions. One of it is poor performance. It is legal to demote an employee in order to safeguard the organizations from danger or loss. Employees that fail to complete their duties will result in a loss of profit or opportunity for the organization. If an employee frequently fails to accomplish his or her allocated task, he or she may be demoted. Other than that, the demotion to employees also can be as punishment to them. That is, organizations use this as a kind of punishment for major violations of laws and regulations, as well as consistent poorly performance. If an employee committee is involved in a crime or corruption that has a negative impact on the organizations, as a kind of punishment, they may decide to demote him. Next, employees may be demoted if positions are eliminated. A business may suffer an anticipated financial loss, forcing it to reduce the compensations and duties of some personnel. This demotion might be temporary until the corporations receives a greater infusion of income. Organizational changes may occur from time to time. It may be necessary to combine departments or close some sections of departments. In such cases, the number of available roles is decreased. For now, the issue is on how the manager handles the employees who just got demoted to make sure they accept the truth and keep excelling in their work. Your staff will undoubtedly be taken aback by the announcement of a demotion. As a result, it is critical not to surprise them with this. It is preferable to begin in a private session here. Be courteous throughout this meeting. Following the announcement, allow the employee a few seconds to consider the information. After that, it is critical to be transparent without grilling the individual. Once the person understands the reasons behind their demotion, they may work on them rationally. It will assist them in evolving and emerging stronger from their demotions. Employees are frequently humiliated when they are demoted. Recognizing this, employee must maintain as much privacy as possible. Everyone in the office does not need to be aware of an employee's demotion. Keep it solely on a need-to-know basis instead. This entails merely telling those who are closely involved with the individual about the change. There is also a little benefit in demotion of employees for the company and employees. The advantages of demoting personnel include the following: maintains the company financial stability without laying off staff. If your firm is facing a big and unexpected economic loss, demoting employees and paying them less is generally preferable than laying them off. Following that, it provides more training to the employee. If an employee is not doing well, it's better to temporarily demote them and help them develop in their job than let them go with no training or assistance. Furthermore, it gives the employee more time to concentrate on work-life balance. An employee may seek a voluntary demotion if they believe their responsibilities are too demanding and interfere with their personal life. Temporary demotions allow employers to better grasp which employees are responsible for what. This enables you to shift activities that are better suited for other departments and maybe assign new responsibilities that are more tailored to an employee's individual interests or abilities.
Hi, my name is Arina and I will present about gender bias. Gender bias is the tendency to prefer one gender over another. It is a kind of implicit bias in which a person unconsciously attributes certain attitudes and stereotypes to another individual or groups of people. The way an individual views or interacts with others is influenced by this assigned behavior. Next, gender bias in career development is caused by the lack of employment equality. This is because women are not given the same employment right as men in the workplace since they are perceived to be more sensitive and assertive than men. As a result, it is considered that women are incapable of dealing with the pressure that comes with leadership. Furthermore, women are considered to struggle with balancing time for family requirement with employment obligation. Despite women having a responsibility to care for their families, the majority of women prefer to work in paid jobs, believing that they can balance work and life. So here are the examples of gender bias. The first factor is compensation and rewards. There are two types of gender wage gaps which are adjusted and unadjusted. When determining the adjusted gender pay gap, differences in education, job selection, skills, hours worked, and work experience are all taken into account. However, gender pay gaps are things that should not be done due to bias. Women are paid less than men and are assigned to lower paying jobs than men. This is due to the assumption that men have greater competence than women, which limits women's capacity to earn the same amount as men in their careers. Income and career growth are also influenced by parental status, which is another example of gender bias. Working women are usually affected by this issue, thus the disparities are much more obvious and shocking. According to the result of the research, full-time working women earn 34% less than men with the same age. Furthermore, the wage disparity between men and women without children is still 12% lower for women. Because the majority of women nowadays understand how to balance work and home life, there should be no issues with wage inequality or gender bias caused by working women. There are also some impacts that causes of gender bias. Among them, due to the recruitment process, most recruitment process are gender biased because it is according to the suitability of the job or position assigned by some firms. This can be seen through the example when men experience a rejection in hiring compared to women for office job where women are preferred for office roles. Then, this will be a problem for men when applying for one of these positions. The next impact due to gender bias is delay in promotion. This situation showed that women experience more delays in promotion than men. This can be seen when women with more experience are not able to get promotion compared to men who are less qualified and experienced get the promotion. It is because men are considered more suitable to hold higher position or promotion because they are considered to have the nature of leadership and deserve to gain power compared to women. Since gender bias still exists in the workplace, here are some ways to minimize gender bias and create a more diverse and inclusive workplace for everyone. The first step is to recognize gender bias in the recruitment process. As an HR department, they need to look at the language they use when recruiting employees in order to identify biased language in job descriptions for both genders. Furthermore, they can also include the content of recruitment criteria via email and social media to recruit qualified and suitable candidates without gender bias. Besides that, companies should implement gender bias training. Through the training, it will help to know the types of unconscious bias in order to take action to be more careful about gender bias to the more conscious and fairer. Indirectly, it can reduce unconscious gender bias by changing perception about gender bias for the better. Therefore, regular gender bias training is very important to be implemented by companies to avoid the problem of gender bias issues occurring repeatedly. The last step is to provide leadership training opportunities. This training is held not to be a great leader by nature but to help employees grow in their careers. This is because leadership training will help employees to gain knowledge on how to manage and lead a team as well as apply the same nature of leadership in themselves. This training is also very important to reduce gender bias as well as bridge the gender pay gap as women and men get the same leadership training. This will be able to overcome the problem of women cannot be a good leaders compared to men because women are also can be a good mentors and leaders in their careers if the company is constantly conducting leadership training. Therefore, companies need to proactively give women the same opportunities as men with the leadership and professional development to avoid bias.
I continue with an uncertainty career. So what is uncertainty career? In contrast to the term uncertainty, which describes something that is unknown or unknowable. The terms career refer to what you do throughout your working life. So, the uncertainty that individuals face in their career without any preparation are characterized as uncertainty career. I believe that uncertainty is just a part of life that we all have to struggle through regardless of how difficult it may be. And the unemployment rate and person outside the labor force had decreased. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia official portal, the December 2021 employment rate had increased to 66.2%, which was 15.69 million persons compared to the previous year. In spite of an increase in employment, recent graduates have difficulties finding employment. Careers that are uncertain are caused by a variety of factors. There are two kinds of factors to consider, internal and external. The first internal factor is self-barrier.
Each individual has a self-barrier when it comes to choosing a career. A vast majority of fresh graduates are uncertain about their future careers. Newly minded graduates often lack direction after graduates and unsure what to do. Certain career uncertainty arises from choosing a job that does not match its education requirement. Therefore, self-barrier to getting a job that is both desired and necessary, as well as the education needed to obtain the job, cause uncertainty in career and negatively affects individual during an interview session. As a result of the lack of skill or expertise among recent graduates, there is career uncertainty. Self-barriers such as fear of the unknown in the future career also creates barrier within people who seek employment. Often, people are not willing to spend time and money searching for a job because they are comfortable with their current circumstance, like family support. Furthermore, skills are more prevalent. So what are the skills needed? Communication skill, adaptivity skill, leadership skills, and many more. Most of the fresh graduates or candidates lack capability of handling a wide range of tasks. A candidate with many skills would likely be the first choice for a company to hire. They have the capacity to accomplish the job's goal by themselves because they are more prepared for their job roles. The company place a higher value on skills, must not only pay the appropriate wages but also get the best possible result from the employees so that the company can improve its quality and effectiveness. The result of this is that individuals are unable to gain access to funding, leading them to an uncertain career. Apart from internal factor, external factor also affects an uncertain career. Environmental factors are one of the external factors that leads to an uncertain career. As we know, coronavirus outbreak have affected the whole world for almost 2 years. People were required to follow standard operating procedure (SOP) during movement control order (MCO). In most industries, except for foodstuff, business are unable to operate, so workers are compelled to work from home. As a cost-cutting measure, companies often reduce their employees' count and recruitment. Some companies will use coronavirus outbreak as an excuse to terminate employees. Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers said that 63% of companies say they would need to cut costs, and 47% expect to do so in the next 3 to 6 months. The environment, therefore, has a big impact to individuals navigating uncertain careers. Furthermore, the economic crisis is another cause that can be attributed to external factors. People from different education backgrounds, different age, and different competencies were looking for jobs. Thus, the labor market is oversupplied. Due to this, it has become increasingly common for many people to apply for the same job at the same time during the past few years. This has led to a more competitive labor market for employers seeking labors. It is clear that the labor market is oversaturated, getting a job then becoming a very competitive process among people who are seeking employment. The unstable economic and high living costs also become a burden within people. Consequently, the economic crisis combined with a lack of available labor also contributes to career uncertainty. Next, I proceed with ways to overcome uncertain career. People have to change themselves. How to change? Initiate with enhanced competencies, improve knowledge, skill, and ability. Individuals need to know what they want to do in terms of their career before getting an employment. This could be identified as developing career planning. Additionally, get a higher education background. The experience gained through higher education assists them in gaining more knowledge and practical experience during internship. Further, changing how one approaches one job also motivates one to become more involved. People may not be confined to just one career. They have the opportunity to pursue several careers in which they have knowledge or interests. Occupational flexibility will provide more employment opportunities for people. Individuals do not concentrate primarily on their academic credentials. In addition, skill development also can be used as a tool to resolve uncertain career. Why must developing skill? It is because developing skill could allow individuals to win over their competitors due to enhanced self-worth. For example, nowadays, no matter what career or field you are, technology has become a necessity. Technology skills are an essential component to a successful future career. Technology skill is one of the most competitive skills for employers, so the more knowledge you have, the more competitive you will be in getting hired. Despite the lack of startup attraction, entrepreneurs venture into the world of entrepreneurship. So how to learn basic technology skill, obtain training, or use free resources like YouTube. Communication skills are also vital. Most situations require good communication skills, especially during the later stage of a career. In an interview session, an individual will exhibit good communication skills that give a great impression to the employer as well as prove competencies to them. Overall, skill development could be beneficial for career preparation and help individuals avoid an uncertain career path. Thank you.
Minority issues that occur in career development are more likely to be about ethnicity issues. Race and ethnicity have been mentioned as issues that should be taken into account during the professional development process. Race and ethnicity can impact the type of employment that is considered acceptable and accessible from both a personal and cultural standpoint. From a social standpoint, racial and ethnic discrimination and persecution may cause members of racial and ethnic minority groups to abandon occupations they consider to be unavailable to them. This is because once racial and ethnic identification can affect the type of employment one views as a possible alternative. It is widely known that minority ethnic groups face significant labor market disadvantages. They are more likely to earn less than their colleagues, are unemployed, overrepresented in the lower rungs of the organizational ladder, and feel discriminated against. The disadvantages that ethnic minorities continue to face in the job market are a subject that policymakers are increasingly focusing on. Institutional racism is defined as an organization's collective inability to offer adequate and professional service to people based on their skin color, culture, or ethnic origin. It can be observed or discovered in attitudes, procedures, and behavior that equate to discrimination due to unwritten prejudice, ignorance, carelessness, and racist stereotyping that disadvantages the minority ethnic population. This concept, while meant as a remark on service delivery, might equally apply not just to a company's external clients or consumers, but also to the representation of ethnic minority workers within an organization and employee discrimination. In other words, it refers to the hiring techniques and following HR protocols that regulate who is hired and how individuals are treated once hired. African Americans are the second largest minority group in the United States, and they have long been victims of persecution and prejudice. African Americans are the most studied minority group in terms of education and job growth. Numerous identities have been discovered to have an influence on professional choice-making and process by researchers, and multiple identities may include gender, ethnicity, and acculturation, which is linked to career identity. In high school, African Americans' ethnic identification was discovered to have affected their profession choices. Similarly, immigrant women of color face triple peril in their career development quest. The race is essential in the professional development of African Americans. A study of 10 black male and female human resource developers revealed that respondents work in unfavorable racial climates marked by the double-edged effects of affirmative action, prejudice and discrimination, career plateaus and glass ceiling issues, and feelings of isolation caused by being the only blacks in a department or at certain meetings. Successful African American professionals learn to utilize tactics to assist them to manage and achieve in their jobs. The use of bicultural techniques is emphasized, which assisted human resource developers in balancing their professional and personal life. Successful African American professionals frequently seek out safe spaces to reaffirm their identity, which may have been endangered in their dealings with whites, which influenced their decision to build a strong black-based support structure. Mentoring connections are critical to effective professional advancement. The lack of a role model or mentor with political savvy, organizational influence, and power emerge as the factor that could have the most profound impact on the career development of African Americans in training and organizational development, and certainly in other professional areas. African American professional success factors included, among other things, the ability to manage rage issues and frustration and rage that can arise from time to time, to overcome feelings of isolation by establishing their presence and voice at work, to learn the written and unwritten rules of the game, and to understand where power resides in the organization and how to obtain it.
Hi everyone, I'm Irene and I'll be explaining about occupational stereotypes. Occupational stereotypes are created at a young age and it is persistent and pervasive in society. They are mental shortcuts that allow us to digest information more rapidly. Employers' perception of their employees' experiences may also be influenced by occupational stereotypes, which can shape the societal expectation connected with their employment. Adding insult to injury, stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination can lead to preconceived notions about individuals and social groups that are not grounded in reason or reality. As a result, stereotypes can lead to unjust and differential treatment of individuals based on those preconceived notions. Similarly, occupational stereotypes may have more overall effects on the distribution of workers across different types of employment, and a phenomenon is known as occupational segregation due to their widespread application. There are a few impacts of occupational stereotypes. One of them is gender discrimination and gender-based occupation. Many gender-related challenges and biases have been minimalized throughout time, but gender stereotypes continue to provide obstacles to advancing women's careers. It occurs when an employer treats one employee differently than another because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. The employer will base this unfair treatment on a stereotype that has been perpetuated over time. When considering whether to promote one employee over another, many employers will depend on these stereotypes to decide. Many employers may choose to select or promote a male candidate if they believe that a female candidate within a given age range may get pregnant at some point in the future. There has been research done by Chung and Milkman 2020 that demonstrates how women are punished for exhibiting stereotypically male characteristics. According to research, when people became engaged in their work lives, males are rewarded but women are punished. Most of the time, men are rewarded for speaking their minds, whereas women are punished when they do so. Not only that, but women are also typically categorized as being warm and caring, but they are also classified as having a low level of intellectual ability. When women achieve high levels of competence and success, they defy the prescriptive gender stereotype and people punish them by rating them lower likability and warm skills than men. According to the research by Stephens 2019, the researchers discovered that in line with this perception of increased stereotyping in general, both in terms of women competence counter stereotypes and traditional women warm stereotypes, the proportion of women at the top of organization increased. Negative stereotypes of women as leaders increased as well. As a result of these findings, both factors were statistically significant. Older women reported slightly fewer negative female leader stereotypes than did their female peers. Gender-based stereotypes about occupation may also influence employers' decision to hire. Male candidates may be favored for positions regarded as masculine, and female candidates may be chosen for jobs stereotyped as feminine. Because of the discrepancy between the group stereotype and the job role, Negative performance expectations may be created, resulting in unfavorable performance assessments. According to Doering and Tebak 2017 study published in the American Sociological Review, a profession regarded as a masculine job is perceived as more trustworthy than a profession that is perceived as a women's job. According to the study's findings, customers who are partnered with male loan managers were more likely to comply with their payments. Still, customers who were matched with female loan managers were more likely to miss payments. Driver 2021 also published a study in which the researchers discovered that the female entrepreneurs confront challenges that their male counterparts do not. Compared to males, women always have to put more effort to make an excellent first impression. They are frequently stereotyped and are not instantly identified as a severe entrepreneur by their appearance. Furthermore, they are constantly surrounded by unsolicited counsel from men who are not even remotely associated with them in the pit. The second impact of occupational stereotypes is ageism stereotypes. Ageism is defined as negative beliefs, behaviors, assumptions, and stereotypes about age to support discriminatory behaviors against older adults. In the workforce, age stereotypes frequently manifest themselves as erroneous and often inaccurate impression of workers' attributes based on the person's chronological age. Some of the aging stereotypes are positive towards older employees, such as describing them as honest, trustworthy, and loyal. However, they also had deficit-oriented stereotypes, such as poor performance, resistance to change, and lower learning ability, regarding to the shorter job tenure. Because of unfavorable age stereotypes, older personnel may be perceived as less trainable, adaptable, and efficient, and lack of essential physical skills and technological competency among the other characteristics. Internalized ageism can arise at the individual level when older workers internalize unfavorable preconceptions, cause in a loss of self-confidence and diminished motivation to pursue various employment options. Another widespread age stereotype is that older workers are averse to change, which is not entirely accurate. Older workers are stereotyped as being more challenging to develop, less adaptable, and more challenging to train, among other things. Furthermore, older workers are less eager to engage in training and career development programs than their younger individuals are. The perception that older workers provide a lesser return on investment in terms of training efforts can arise due to this phenomenon. Lastly is miscommunication. It is also possible that occupational stereotypes will influence the way communicators respond to their audience. Employees who see others as hostile or uncooperative based on stereotypes may find it challenging to communicate honestly with individuals they regard as such in the workplace. It can lead to misinterpretations, decreased productivity, and more significant concerns including unequal pay, withholding promotions, discrimination, sexual harassment, and lawsuits if gender stereotypes are not avoided. Similarly, an employee may react differently to someone who has favorable stereotypes than to a co-worker who has negative stereotypes about them. So what are the suggestions to break occupational stereotypes? When it comes to breaking down occupational stereotypes, one of the recommendations for companies is to provide diversity training for their employees. One of the benefits of providing diversity training is to improve their workplace cultures. Most companies have implemented diversity training to raise awareness of diversity concerns and strengthening cohesiveness. For employees to understand that despite disparities among the team members with whom they are working, a minor modification is one's mindset can result in an outstanding team. Making people not just tolerant of the diversity they observe around them, but also appreciate those variances as essential components of effective teams is the goal. Besides that, this training in the workplace encourages employees to welcome people of all races, religions, and backgrounds regardless of their skin color, race and language, ethic, and many more. When we examine the establishment of a company, No matter what industry it is in, it requires a team of individuals who are technically oriented, human resource focused, financial oriented, and have other specialist knowledge. These individuals work together to form the foundation of an exceptional team. There are many different types of diversity training, and awareness-based training is one sort of diversity training those businesses should consider implementing. Diversity training that raises awareness is one of the most successful types of training available. We believe that every business owner or manager should learn the art of broadening their company's personnel. An awareness training session is nothing more than a training session in which employees learn about various people from varied backgrounds. For example, existing and new colleagues learn about sexual minorities, gender minorities, racial and ethnic identities, and various other topics. This form of training is typically used to make employees more sensitive to their surroundings. It is concerned with making employees aware of the significance of diversity in the workplace. This program also helps employees become more conscious of their stereotypes and cultural assumptions about other people. The training is implemented through case studies and experiential activities which are incorporated into the curriculum. In conclusion, career development strategy is critical for both firms and employees as it provides several benefits for both parties. There are a variety of approaches that we might use to address our professional development difficulties. Practical communication abilities are tools that we can use to our advantage. When entering the workforce, it is unavoidable to contact people from various backgrounds and generations, including baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, and Generation Z. As a result, there are frequent communication hurdles between ages. Next is mentoring and coaching. It is critical to provide freshly promoted personnel with a mentor who has been in their position before. With their own life experiences as a guide, the mentor can teach them how to be successful, or even better introduce the individual to this mentor before they can be promoted to get up to speed right away. Finally, having a dialogue about professional development is essential. Employees' goals and willingness to develop are necessary information for businesses to know about their workers. Encourage managers to talk with their team members to support professional development in the workplace. These discussions are critical significantly when raising staff retention and satisfaction levels. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.